Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are, whenever you're watching this. This is Floating in Dreams, and today's video is going to be about the new makeup releases that have been announced in the past couple of weeks. So these are the new makeup releases that stood out to me for September. Welcome if you're new here. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today's video, I'm going to be chatting about some new makeup releases again, and boy, what a month we've had, because there have been a lot of announcements that I want to chat about, more so than usual. I tried to edit it down and try to get to like 5 bottoms and 5 maybes and 5 things I want to put on a wish list, and I just couldn't do it. So I have 24 things I want to chat about. Well, 25 if you, because I want to come back to something I mentioned last time. So there's a lot we need to chat about. Let's just get cracking. In case you're new here, hi, my name is Maaike. I live in the Netherlands. I like to come on here to chat about eyeshadow palettes, essence and Catrice reviews, and getting the use out of my makeup. And because I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, I deem myself a snow angel. So if you'd like to join the Snow Angel Club, just click subscribe down below. We also take members who are not snow angels themselves, so don't worry if you're not a snow angel, because we just enjoy having a good time on here. So if you'd like to join my family, then please do. So the first thing I need to mention here is something I need to come back to from the last time I talked about some new makeup releases. So the last time I talked about it, there was an announcement for a new Pat McGrath Mothership palette, the Moonlit Seduction. And I was a little on the fence about that one because I felt it again looked very similar to other things I already have from the brand. So I was like, do I need this? But it seems to be a little bit more cool tone, so it looks really, really stunning. Here's the thing. It's not for sale yet in stores here in Europe. I think it is for sale on the Pat McGrath website. I'm not entirely sure. By the time you're watching this, it will be on sale. But I was able to have a gander when I was in London. So I was trying to see if they had the palette out at least. And they did have a tester. They weren't allowed to sell it yet, but they did have a tester. So the sales associate did show me the palette. And now I want it. So that is gonna go into a wish list. I hope it's gonna be discounted for Black Friday and that it's going to count towards the Black Friday deal so that I can then get it with like 25% off. That's sort of the plan. I don't wanna pay full price for it, but I am also going to then get rid of some of my other Pat McGrath motherships because it's so similar. So I think my next round of declutters that I will be doing next year, I'm gonna have to edit down my Pat McGrath mothership family. I'm probably thinking of getting rid of both the Divine Rose 1 and Divine Rose 2 because I feel the new palette is kind of like a blend of those two, and it sort of takes my favorite elements of the Divine Rose 1 and 2 and puts them into one palette. So that's sort of the plan for now. I just thought I could update you on that, on my plans with my Pat McGrath collection. But yeah, I do now very much want that Pat McGrath mothership, the new one. I do. Now that I've seen it in real life, I'm like, ooh, I'd like to have you. So now we need to talk about the new stuff. And I've again split it into bottom, maybe, and top. So we're gonna end the video on a high note, hopefully. And I definitely have more so in my bottom section of the selection than I do in the maybe and the top category. So let's just get all of these bottom things out of the way first. So one of the first holiday releases that I've seen announced is by NARS. And I looked at this and I was like, NARS, you need to start doing something else because this looks exactly like something they've already done. So I'm like, I would like to try NARS eyeshadow at some point, but their color stories are just so samey that at the one hand, it doesn't seem to matter what you pick, but at the same time, I don't really love all of the color story that they always put out because it skews very warm toned. So that's why I've never gotten into NARS eyeshadow for that reason. But yeah, this didn't really spark my interest either, so I'm terribly sorry. Then another, well, I think a good one. I think for the brand, this is a great release, but it's not something I need in my collection. And that's the new Nomad palette, the Monteverdi Cloud Forest palette. Looks like a really stunning, colorful, very bright, fun, summery kind of palette. I think this is a great one. And I think in terms of like a travel destination, it totally makes sense. I love the colors that are in here, but I just don't need this palette for my own collection, even though I know I'm probably going to love it if I were to buy it. I'm kind of holding out my hopes for their fall release and their winter releases because those tend to be the color stories that I love from Nomad. So maybe if this is still around, which I think it is because it doesn't seem to be limited edition, maybe if I then place myself an order from Nomad, I might throw this in because it kind of looks interesting. It's definitely one of the more exciting releases they've done all year. But at the moment, I'm like, I don't really need this. I might just throw it in to round out the order if I need to, like if I find myself wanting something else really badly and I just want to make the shipping worth it. I might just throw it in there, but at the moment, no can do. Then the Unearthly Vitality palette, and this is funny because I wasn't going to get this anyway. It's far too matte heavy, we don't get enough shimmer options, and it's just another rainbow, so to me, this didn't really spark my interest. I do like that the brand is starting to come out with some smaller pans. I just wish that they would do this kind of pan size in their other palettes, rather than this ginormous palette with way too many colors, and I believe it's also on the more expensive side for the brand. But I actually watched Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner already putting this in a video, and she had just tried it and she put it up aside the, like she showed it side by side, the new Ace Beauté Paletopoli palette. I can't say that in one go. And the color stories are pretty much identical. So we have two palettes from two brands that look very similarly. So that's another reason why I was like, you know, I really don't need this in my life. So the Unearthly Vitality I'm passing up on. Too Faced has announced their fall collection. We get another pumpkin spice collection. I believe it's called Pumpkin Spice Extra Slice, which I think is fun. It's cute, but this again looks exactly like anything they've done before. So that's an issue I've had with a lot of the releases from ColourPop since the gingerbread spice. They did the gingerbread spice, and they did the extra spicy, then the pumpkin spice, and now the pumpkin spice extra slice. And you could buy all four of those, and I think the color stories are just really, really similar. So for me, this is not a must-have, and I actually was in the Too Faced store in Carnaby Street for a hot minute when I was in London, and I had a look around what the brand has to offer, and just nothing really sparks my interest at the moment. So Too Faced for now is definitely a little bit on like the back burner for me. Huda Beauty has announced a new 9-pan, the Love Fest, which I believe is a collab palette. And I look at this and I go like, but I already have the Desert Dusk, so I don't need this. It's warm tones with purples, and I have my Desert Dusk to have warm tones with purples. Don't need this. And then the controversy of the makeup world at the moment, of course I had to mention it, the Fenty Beauty collab where they talk, is it ketchup? Is it makeup? And you don't know. It's 6 packets for $25, and some of them feature a gloss and some of them are actual ketchup. They better put like 5 sachets with gloss in there and only 1 with ketchup, else I would be mad at that price point. Because that's a scam. Like $25 for 6 packets that you cannot reuse? Like, how is that sanitary? Like, how could you could not pop it in a bag to use it again? How much gloss do you really use? Never a full sachet. So it's impractical and a gimmick? Like, no, just no. Passing up on it. This is one of those things where I'm like, if you want to do a fun TikTok and you want to hop on the trend and just go crazy, then sure, but this is just not practical for the everyday consumer. Then we have the collab from Sydney Grace and the Fancy Face. This is the Tropi Color eyeshadow palette, and I'm super excited that Tina has a collab with Sydney Grace. I think that she always kills it with her content, so I love it for her, but this is just not my kind of color story. I'm pretty sure that because it's Sydney Grace, it's going to be really, really good quality. I'm absolutely stoked for that. But there's just something about this color story where I'm like, yes, it's bright, but it doesn't have the bright colors that I would want. Like, if I were to now pick a bright color, I would like a bright colorful palette, I would go for the Nomad over anything else I'm showing here today. I'm just not in the market for that right now, so for me, it's just not the right time to be buying this. And then the Urban Decay She-Hulk palette, which I believe has already, again, like, gotten everybody just talking about it in a negative way, even if they haven't even tried it. this actually looks pretty okay to me. As in, I don't get the fact that like we only get one massive green and there just seems to be a lot of wasted space, which I think is a bit of a waste. So that's a bit of a bummer. If I could get, like, if I could see this in store and I could swatch it, I might still like it. I saw Laura May Beauty trying it out in a video and she was a lot more impressed with some of those shades than she thought she was initially going to be. So I think this is another one where, you know, a lot of people are just going to talk badly about Urban Decay because it's an Urban Decay palette. And I think that if this color story was released by an indie brand, everybody would be up in arms and saying that it would be the best palette ever. So I definitely think it's skewed that way. There seem to be some interesting textures in here. At the moment, Urban Decay is incredibly hard for me to buy, and I'm not at the moment looking to make a purchase where I really need to go out of my way to get my hands on something. I mean, if they do something like a new Naked palette, then I would buy it, but I don't think they're really doing them anymore. That's sort of like my prediction, no more Naked palettes. I think they've done 10 and now they feel it's okay. But yeah, this does look interesting. If I could get my hands on it, I would. I think there are some retailers in the UK that still stock them, so it may not be as difficult to get as I'm now thinking. I'm pretty sure if I go online I could, but this is not, like, it's just not necessary in my collection, and that's why I'm passing up on it, not because I think it's going to be bad quality. So we've talked about a lot of palettes here, but Patrick Ta has announced a cream and powder compact foundation. I'm apprehensive about it. I think that, you know, what he's got going on with like his aesthetic of his packaging is absolutely gorgeous, but I don't need a foundation and a matching face powder. Like, that is not going to work for me because very often the foundation shade I need is very light, and I actually like it if my powder is a hair darker than my foundation, so that if I set it, I don't look super duper ghostly pale. So that my bronzer actually has something to play off of. So I don't want my face powder to match the foundation shade that's in it, plus it's a cream foundation. And I think the powder in it can also be used as a powder foundation, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. So this, to me, this is one of those products that I'm just going to see it being hyped up. Like, this is going to be hyped up. Everybody's going to be trying this. And I'm going to be over here and go like, my dry skin will not love this. So that's why I'm passing up on it. Another new holiday release, and there are people who are already raving about this. I saw Jen Phelps making a video about it, like with a question mark on it, where she says, is this the best palette of 2022? So I hope it is for her, but the Tarte Maneater After Dark. Can we stop doing neutral palettes with one pop of color? Because that green is the one thing that really catches your eye and makes you want this. And I'm like, I just want some more colorful shades in here, and then I'd like it a lot better. So again, no can do, and I don't need a large palette like this. We all know that by now. And then very hot off the press, I only saw this dropping last night, so I'm glad I waited to film this video a few days before I did. But the new Shroud Cosmetics collab with Betty Bean, the Hello Bean eyeshadow palette. We now have the color story for it, and it's got 3 orange. What's up with the pumpkin love from the US just really has to stop. Like, I know you love your pumpkin spice lattes, I know you do, but pumpkins are just, for me, pumpkins in fall, like turning leaf colors, that's fall. Not pumpkins and pumpkin spices. It's like only a thing in the US. Like, we have pumpkin spice lattes because we have Starbucks, but it's not as if you go into a regular Dutch supermarket and you can find pumpkin spice everywhere like you do in the US. You just don't. It's not a thing. We do have pepernoten though. So those have already launched, in case you don't know what that is about. In the Netherlands, we celebrate like gift giving a little bit differently in the holiday season. So we celebrate Sinterklaas, and one of the candies you can get around Sinterklaas are pepernoten. And those are also like, it's sort of like when pumpkin spice starts to become a thing in the US, that's when we get pepernoten. So we have something similarly going on, but it's like a different season because that's not until December. So it has nothing to do with the fall time. It's more of like a winter thing for us. So yeah, I don't get this color story. It's just way too warm tone for my liking. I know, even though it's going to be a lovely quality, I just know. And it is a bit more unique, and it's got the lovely grungy fall vibes for sure. But just because it has 3 oranges in a 9-pan, I know I won't be able to get away with it. No way, Jose. That's not gonna go down. I won't love that. I just know it. For the maybe category then, here we can be a little bit more positive. We have the new lipsticks from NARS. These are called the Power Matte, and I'm not sure these are out everywhere yet, if I'm not mistaken, but these look interesting. I haven't tried NARS in a long time. Now that I'm thinking about it, that cream bronzer from NARS, they came out with their full range of bronzers this year in a cream formula, and I kind of want to try some more cream bronzers because I've really only tried like a handful, so maybe I should try some more, you know, just to have some more variety in what I like know about cream bronzer. And this is definitely a contender. And also this lipstick formula I think looks really interesting. So if I could find this in store, I would definitely do some swatches and see if I can find something there. I definitely want to see if there's anything in the NARS line that I might like again. Then there's a limited edition eyeshadow palette from Gucci, and Gucci is one of those luxury brands that's definitely been on my radar for a while. They do some really nice things, but it's expensive. Yeah, this eyeshadow palette has some lovely cool tones. It does look very similar to the limited edition collection palette they did last year, so did we really need this color story? Maybe not, but it seems to be cool tones with a blue and a purple, so I think I might like this. It's just, I don't know if I can warrant spending this kind of money if I also want to get that Pat McGrath palette. Like, if this is still around in like February, I might have the funds available to be buying such a bougie purchase again. But right now, at the moment, I'm still like doing some home bits, and I just can't afford to be spending this kind of money on an eyeshadow palette right now. But yeah, this does really intrigue me, which is why it went in the maybe pile. BH Cosmetics is back, so I hope they're back with a vengeance. They've finally come out with some new things, the Travel Minis. So these are 4 pans in their travel series that they haven't done before, which I think is exciting. I'm still hoping for a reboot of that Love in London palette that I love so much. Like, I still hope they do that. So now that they're back, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on them because BH has some really lovely, affordable eyeshadow. I really do enjoy them as a brand, and of course they filed for bankruptcy, so now they had to restart the brand, and they've come out with these new products, which I think look really lovely. It's just the color stories don't really speak to me at the moment, so I won't be trying these out, but I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on them. And then something that this shouldn't even intrigue me, but the new Chanel quads for the fall time. There's something intriguing about it because it looks gross and pretty at the same time. It's inspired by their tweed fabric, and they have like tweed fabrics that have inspired the color stories of the palettes. Like, how genius is that? So just for that, they get a bit of bonus points, but Chanel eyeshadow formula just isn't my favorite. So that's why I don't think I'll be buying this. So this is definitely more like towards the bottom of like a maybe category. I don't really need this. The color stories don't look all that interesting, to be quite fair, but I just thought it was a fun concept, and Chanel is known for tweed, so I think they're really embracing that. They did kind of copy Dior there though, because Dior has a couple of iconic prints that they've used in their eyeshadows, and now Chanel is starting to do the same thing. New from Sigma is the Alice in Wonderland collection, and this is a maybe because I am fairly sure that, like the Cinderella collection from last year, I will not be able to get it because apparently there was an issue with some of the licensing from the Cinderella palette, that it was only sold in the USA and it wasn't sold anywhere else. So I wanted to try that Cinderella palette but couldn't, and I'm sort of now predicting that it will be the same thing for the Alice in Wonderland. This looks less interesting to me than the Cinderella palette. And I just got I just tried the new mod from Sigma, so I'm sort of good for my Sigma fix at the moment. But this is nice. I like Alice in Wonderland as an IP to work with. I definitely think that's good. It definitely goes with the, you know, with the movie and the vibes of the movie as well. So this is probably a solid one, and a lot of people are going to love it, but I'm just afraid I will not be able to get it. And then a brand I hadn't heard of, Flower Nose. I think they're a Chinese brand, or am I mistaken? I'm not entirely sure. And this is their Strawberry Rococo collection, and the packaging, like if you are a magpie like I am, then the packaging is just, they're killing it here. What the quality is like, I just don't know. But I have been trying some more like Asian beauty brands in the past couple of years. I was able to try some Zishi this year for the first time as well. And overall, it's fairly good quality, but I do feel that some of the price point definitely goes towards the packaging more so than the quality of the product. So I'm hoping it's not the case with this, of course. But yeah, this is a brand I hadn't heard of, and this looks lovely. So if I were to get a chance to buy this, I might just do so, but I'm not even sure about their price point. Another maybe here, and the only reason why this is a maybe is because it doesn't have any shimmers. The new Color Rain announcement, the Secret Garden. I am one of those people who never bought the Safari Rain palette because I was like, I don't need that. I don't need that. I have those color stories, and now so many years later, I'm like, maybe I should have bought that because it would have been a really good Color Rain trial palette. I've only used some singles by them. I did own the Queen of Hearts from Color Rain at some point. I completely forgot about it. That didn't make a lasting impression apparently. But yeah, I did like the formula of what I've tried. So yeah, this Secret Garden palette just has some lovely grungy tones. Again, do I need it? No, and it's all matte. So that's why it's in the maybe category rather than like, ooh, I want to get this. And then there's a fall collection announcement from Essence. So Essence hasn't even released their new fall winter update yet, and we're already getting news of their fall limited edition pumpkin collection. I think that by the time I can get my hands on the new Essence things, this will also be coming out, so maybe I'm able to work some products into the collection because I've already seen what Essence is going to be bringing out as part of their new collection. And there's not a whole lot of makeup going on. Essence has definitely been, focusing more on the skincare bits rather than the makeup bits in the past couple of updates they've been doing. So maybe I can throw in a couple of these just to try it out and have a little bit more to talk about. But overall, I don't need this. It's very orange toned. So that's why I'm a bit like, I don't really need it. But it might be a smart move to sort of, put them in that video a little bit if I don't have enough things to talk about otherwise. And finally, the final section is my top 5. We have to say it. Natasha Denona Daydream. Do I need this in my collection? No. Why not? Because it looks like it was the glam and the retro combined and turned up the saturation a notch. It's just not very light. That's the only thing that concerns me here. It's quite a dark palette, but it seems to have some really lovely textures. And those plums, man, this is really pulling on my heartstrings ever since this has been announced because it's only like a coming soon. They kind of leaked it, it seems. So when this is coming isn't even like, it's not even available anywhere yet. I don't know when it's coming, but every couple of days or so, I type in Natasha Denona Daydream just to see if there's a retailer where it pops up so I can snatch it up straight away. I'm like this I'm going to buy straight away when it launches. I don't care how similar it is to things I already have. I love the Natasha Denona formula. This is a color story after my dreams. Yes, I'm buying this. So next up, I'm super excited about the new launch from Charlotte Tilbury. She's come out with a new concealer. And I have said when I did my top 5, bottom 5 that I don't love what Charlotte Tilbury is offering in terms of concealer because that magic wand concealer with like the clicky pen with the sponge, I don't love, and that's a very thick, very matte sort of formula, which I also don't love. And I've been saying that if she comes out with something with a regular doe foot and something that's supposed to be more like dewy radiant, that I would snap it up. And this thing is literally called the Skin Radiant Concealer. So guess what I'm doing? When I do place myself an order from Charlotte Tilbury, there are a few bits on my wish list already. But with Charlotte Tilbury, I tend to like save up what I would like to get, and then around Black Friday, that's when I make a purchase from her website because you usually get a lot of freebies and you get some discounts if you buy things that are in sets and stuff. So I'm definitely going to be buying this at some point when I do place an order for some more Charlotte Tilbury. Won't be anytime soon, so I won't snatch it up straight away. but this one I'm super excited for because I'm hoping that this is going to be the Charlotte Tilbury concealer that I've been waiting for. I only have the corrector because I don't love that other concealer, and I like that okay, but it's not even my favorite corrector ever in my makeup collection either. It works well enough for me, but it's just not a favorite. So that's why that one, yeah, if I can find it good enough, this new concealer is going to be up to my taste. I would love that. More concealer then, the new Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer. I think this looks really pretty. I quite like Milk Makeup as a brand, but save for their like primers and a couple of those stick kind of products, I haven't really used much from the brand. And the reason for that was at some point, I think 2 years ago or so, I wanted to do a full face of Milk Makeup. And that was right around the time that they like discontinued their entire line. And because Milk Makeup isn't readily available to me and I can only buy it online, it's just not that easy for me to see what the brand has on offer. I can't go out and swatch things, so that makes it easier to like buy a foundation or like a concealer and things like that. So this is one that I, again, won't be able to buy anytime soon. But if I do, you know, if I were to buy some more Milk Makeup, I will definitely be putting this in my cart. And then we have some Moira palettes. So I mentioned Moira in one of my previous videos, and some of you are saying they are actually really affordable, and there are some codes you can use, so they're not horribly expensive to buy from. So I've been checking out their websites, but there isn't a lot that super duper excites me. So that's the only thing that has me a little worried, because a lot of things they do, there's just a lot. They're like, Moira is like, I don't know where they're exactly based, but it's like Makeup Revolution to me. There's just so much product on that website that to me, as a new consumer to the brand, if I were to make a first purchase, it's just a bit much. It's just a little bit of too much brain space. But these new on-the-go palettes that they've launched, those look pretty interesting. There's like a couple of good cool tone color stories there that are a little bit more interesting. So maybe this should be my first purchase from the brand. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think I'm just going to put Moira on a list of things I want to try next year, because I'm still there's still a couple of brands I want to buy some products from, so I hope to be able to do that in the next couple of months. So by the time I have the funds to be able to make a purchase from them, it will probably be 2023. But Moira Cosmetics, I think, is just a brand I need to put on my list for 2023 to try. And finally, the Gucci blushes. So Gucci, I already mentioned their eyeshadow palette. They are definitely sort of like a brand that I'm sort of like eyeing up, like, you're bougie, but I like you, that kind of thing. So maybe I should just try some more from the brand, because I've tried some of their lipsticks, but I haven't really tried anything else from the brand. So rather than an eyeshadow palette, maybe a blush is a better way to try a bit more. I'm not entirely sure, but these look pretty. The compacts look very pretty. I mean, that's one of the things that Gucci gets really, really right, is packaging. Again, Gucci, not very easily to get for me. There's only one counter in my entire country, which is in Amsterdam, and I don't go there all the time. So this is going to be, again, a while until I can actually see this physically in a store and like swatch it and see what it's all about. And so this is definitely something I'm interested in, but I first want to enjoy my Gucci lipsticks a little bit more. Maybe at some point, this is one of those things where what I also did with my Charlotte Tilbury collection is just like, over time, I found myself with a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. It's not something I did instantly. And I think Gucci may be one of those brands where, you know, I buy like one thing every year, and then in the end I'm like, oh yeah, I've got some Gucci things, and I can do a video with that, but it's not a priority at all. The Natasha Denona palette is the only thing that I'm like putting top of the list to purchase ASAP. So those are all of the new makeup releases I wanted to chat about with you. Let me know in a comment down below if there's anything you are planning on buying. I would love to know. If you could thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel, that would greatly help me out. And for now, I would like to wish you a very pleasant day. Take care, everybody, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.